What does a sales pipeline look like when we talk? I mean, honestly, it's for any industry, but I'm going to give it to you how I broke it down for real estate. And I think it's super important that you understand what a funnel is, how leads come into a funnel, how they come out of a funnel. Because if you don't understand any of that, do you really understand how to work the lead flow that's in your CRM or online leads, funnel leads or Sphere? Like, all of it comes in the funnel, right? So, and if you're not working your funnel, then honestly, I don't know what you're doing in this business, because it's super, super, super important. So don't make fun of my funnel. It's badass. But leads typically come in one or two ways. One is prospecting. Two is marketing. Now, definition of those is pretty simple for me. Prospecting is going to be more time. This is my little clock. More time than money. Marketing leads are going to come into your funnel by spending money on certain things, whether it be Facebook or PPC or flyers or whatever it is. There is a combination of a few things like farming that is a little bit of prospecting and marketing. So there is another way for stuff to come in, but we're not going to talk a bunch about that. So marketing, some ideas here is going to be some flyers. It could be PPC leads. It could be mailers. And it could be ISAs to call. Prospecting could be door knocking, calling, and then calling can break down a ton of different ways. You got for sale by owners, you got cash space, you have expireds, canceleds. Right over here you can do open houses. You have your referrals. You have your Sphere. Like, there's a ton of things you can do for prospecting to get leads to come in. But when a lead comes in, it comes in as a contact. No, I lied. It comes in as a lead. It turns into a contact only when there's a two-way conversation. Now, a two-way conversation is just how it sounds. It's not you got hung up on. It's not that they slammed the door in your face. It's you were able to, in my book, you were able to ask 3 questions, right? And they might have said no, and then you got permission to follow up. That's a contact for me, okay? If they just slam the door in your face, then it's nothing, okay? Now, if you're cold calling, or if you have, you're door knocking or cold calling or expired, you don't want to put a bunch of junk leads into your CRM. You want to make sure you're putting qualified leads into your CRM. So this kind of happens during the process for me, but I am defining it as 2. So I'm out cold calling, I'm on my mojo, I might have 500 things that I'm calling. Boom, I get a conversation, they tell me no, but you could follow up. Okay, that's a lead. I'm going to automatically turn it into a contact. That was a contact for the day. If a lead comes in through marketing and it's a PPC lead, it comes in, I haven't made contact with them at all, that's still a lead. And it won't be a contact until you have a two-way conversation. Now, once you have a contact, you should understand how to follow up with that client. And that's where CRM is going to become super important. It should be, buyer action plan, seller action plan. It could be a nurture plan. It could be a Sphere plan. Depending on the source of that lead will depend on how I follow up with them. Now, if we're talking, let's just take Sphere, because I believe everybody should be planning your Sphere. And if this is your first 1 or 2 years in the business, I believe 75% of your business is going to come from Sphere and social media. So that's where you should put a bulk of your time. So once we get a contact, we're going to go into a nurture, right? So we have our contact, now we're nurturing, and this is where the bulk of the magic happens. It's in constant conversation with this contact over time that it's eventually going to lead to an appointment. Right? And our appointment is what we want to get on, so we can then get a transaction, and a transaction will turn into a closed deal. Now, I always ask in all my classes, I say, where's the money made in the process? And the truth is, a lot of people say, well, it's made when the deal closes because this is when you actually get the dollars. You do get the dollars here, but that's not where the money's made. The money's made right here. I was going to do a star, but it turned into a circle. You get the point. So it made when I had a two-way conversation. I was able to nurture that lead for however long it takes. Some nurtures are 30 days, some are 2 weeks, some we've had nurtures as long as a year and a half where they finally set an appointment that we were actually able to do business with them. So if I know where this is where the bulk of my energy should be, how much time should I be spending on that on a daily basis? We know that we want to nurture everybody in our database. So if you have a database of 1,000 people, which is a lot, but let's say you have a database of 400 people. You have a database of 400 people. This should be getting worked every 90 days. So that tells you how often you should be reaching out to these people, especially if they're your sphere. If they're your sphere, you got to be in contact with them every 90 days on top of the rest of your plans. Now, a nurture plan, it's called a 36 touch, right? You can have as many touches or as least touches as you want, but it's typically 36 touch, and I'm going to define how we run ours, okay? So you get 2 monthly emails. You get 4 quarterly calls. You get 1 text message. You get 2, this is monthly. You get 2 events invited to. What else do we do? We do a handwritten note. We do a handwritten note in the beginning of it. We do a birthday card if we have it. And then if they've already transacted with us, past client, they're going to get on the anniversary of their house, they're going to get something. That might be another handwritten card. That might be a CMA. It might be something of value, or just a touch and a call. So I'm not sure what it equals out to. I think it's actually more than 36. But what it does is it puts us in a consistent conversation with our client. We're constantly with them. We're constantly nurturing. Every one of these calls, I won't say are identical, but they're very similar. If it's sphere, I'm always asking if they have any needs, but I use something called the Ford script, which all of you guys are pretty familiar with: family, occupation, recreation, dreams. I'm going to use a lot of this with my sphere. I'm going to find out if they have any needs for, contractors, handyman, or whatever they might need. How can I provide value to them? If it's someone that's cold, a cold lead that I got from door knocking, I'm obviously not going to ask them about their family or what their dreams are. I'm going to keep it a lot of business. I'm going to do what I promised them to do. What I want you to do is I want you to get the term, hey, I'm just following up with you, or you don't want to act, you don't want them to feel like there's this piece of business that you're doing your job with, right? You do eventually want to get them to believe that you care enough about them, and you should care enough about them, that they feel comfortable with you transacting them in real estate. Nobody's going to use you if they don't trust you, they don't believe you, and they don't believe that you can get the job done that they need to get done. It'll never happen. They have to have a high level of belief with you. So as they come in, your job in this nurture program is to make sure they're comfortable enough to set an appointment. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So how this comes down, it really breaks down to, okay, so now we know how it comes into a funnel. We know some things that we can do to fill the funnel, but what's more importantly is the consistency in which you do something. So all this translates to what we call the 5 lead gen levers. So if we have the 5 lead gen levers, this is what we should be doing on a daily basis to put leads in contact so we can nurture them. We want to try to get 3 to 5 nurtures a day, and that's people that say, oh, it's okay for you to follow up with us. So if we have 3 to 5 nurtures a day, we're doing it 6 days a week, that's 30 nurtures a week on the high end. Right? That's 160, that's 120 nurtures a month. If you're adding 120 nurtures to your database a month, it's only a matter of time before you start cracking business. But back to the 5 lead gen levers. Okay, so 5 lead gen levers, there is 2 that are non-negotiable, and that's sphere and social media. Because we believe that you're going to do 75% of the people business with the people that know, love, and trust you, you have to play in these areas because that's where everybody that know, loves, and trusts you. So you got to play here, and some of them can overlap. The other three we call negotiable. What is it that you want to spend your time doing to go out there and transact in business? Me personally, I liked calling, so I got on the phone. It was path of least resistance. I knew if I made 500 phone calls, I was going to find a piece of business when I first started it. Now we have people calling all day long here, and you know the contact rate has gone down. We still do deals with it. It's just different than when I started, but it's still absolutely doable. Let's say you wanted a door knock, right? So now we're going to go out there and we're going to knock 50, 60 doors a day, right? And then let's say the other one is I'm going to call events. We're going to be at 2 things a week that I can go build a sphere naturally because I enjoy doing it. It could be a Bible study, it could be a gun club, it could be a hot rod car show, it could just be whatever it is that you enjoy doing, and you're just gonna make sure you're there to build a network, right? Now, I built this for the typical agent, right? This is just for a retail agent. Now, let's say you want to be multidimensional, just like 90% of the agents on our team, and you want to play in the cash space and you want to play as a real estate agent. The activities are no different. What's different is the conversation and the data that we're pulling. So if I'm going to call, I'm probably not going to call a for sale by owner and say, I got a cash offer for your home, because we're probably going to be way too far apart for them to transact with us. But what I might call is a probate, pre-foreclosure. I might call a 90-day late. I'll call something that I think might be in a distressed situation where they could transact at 60 to 70% of ARV. Okay? On socials, I might be posting about how I'm looking to buy houses. I might be calling agents and networking with agents to have them send me deals. So the process is the same, the conversation is just different in what you're actually going after. But once you have your 5 lead gen levers figured out, then it comes down to time blocking. And I'm going to give this to you fast, right? So for us, I believe training is important. I believe that you actually have to be doing the activity. So everybody starts at 8, okay? From 8:15 to 9, we are going to be making all of our task calls. So this is people who should be following up our task in the system. From 9 to 9:30, we role play. This is us getting better at conversations. This is us overcoming objections. This is us just bettering in our craft. From 9:30 to 12, this is time on task, okay? This is my prospecting time. This is where if I'm driving for dollars, I'm out there driving. This is if I'm calling, I'm calling. I'm door knocking, I'm door knocking. This isn't the time for social or sphere follow-up. This is the time to generate new business and put 3 to 5 nurtures in your database. From 12 to 1, depending on the day, we're gonna train. From 1 to 5, it's kind of what we call flex time, okay? Typically, we'll want you on appointments, right? If you're on appointments, great. If you're not on appointments, you need to be right back in to your prospecting. And I think that's where 95% of agents fail, right? What is your commitment to your schedule on a daily basis? When I got in this business, I left the house at 7:30. I started at 8. I got done at 6. I did not go home in between that time because I knew if I went home, I would not be successful at the things I wanted to do. I knew if I went home, I would find something else more important. So your schedule doesn't have to be this, but you have to have a schedule. You have to have a schedule, and you have to define what are you doing at those times. So you have to have your lead gen levers, and maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3, maybe it's 5. Whatever it is for you, that's what it is for you. But when are you doing it? Right? And then are you going to fill your pipeline the way you need to be filling it, and then working your pipeline in the mornings or in the afternoons or wherever you put it? Are you going to be working on a consistent basis so people can transact? People think they're going to get in this business, have one conversation, and do real estate. I don't care if you're in the cash space. I don't care if you're in the retail space. Whatever you are, it's rare. Sure, is there times that you get a lead and then boom, you're on and you're going to do a deal? Sure. But typically, especially in cold prospecting, it's 6, 8, 9, 12 months before you convert a lead that you got 6, 8, 12 months ago. In the cash space, it might take you 60 days to get your first deal. And that's just because of skill set on the phone, skill set door knocking, skill set across the kitchen table, right? So there's really no secret to success, but what we find is if you're willing to run a time block schedule, if you're willing to run a schedule on a daily basis with purposeful prospecting in the areas that you've decided, and you work your funnel and you cultivate relationships on a daily basis, you tend to make more money than someone not. So if we have the historical data of hiring, probably 100 agents at this point, that the people that plug in and subscribe to this method tend to do better than the people that don't subscribe to this method, well, historically it would tell me, as long as you have a system, tools, and processes in the way you run your business and the things that you do, that you'll transact more. Now, is there some anomalies? 100%. Is there people that have blown up not doing any of this? Absolutely. I'm just saying, if you want to be purposeful, if you really want to talk about running your day and running your sales funnel, I would absolutely adopt this. If you guys need help breaking it down, finding your 5 lead gen levers, whatever it is, hit me up. I'll be happy to take you through it.